Hi, Richie.
Hi, Sin.
Why do you sound so sad, Richie?
Because I can hear you making drinks in the background. And you're on vacation, and I know how this is gonna go.
Hype? Are you hyped?
I got a fancy schmancy glass, and you know what goes in a fancy schmancy glass. That's right!
Who said that? Where did you get that information?
Well, that was you in the background before we hit record.
Hi, Richie.
Hi, Sin.
What are we doing here today?
We're recording another great Runes of Bloodborne episode.
Runes of Bloodborne. Bloodborne.
This is like you have, it's like a Tonight Show, and you've got a band that you throw to.
What? Speak slowly so I can understand.
It's like you're on a Tonight Show. It's time for Runes of Bloodborne, and then you throw to the band, like, Runes of Bloodborne!
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Oh my god! Okay. I'm ready. Say something.
Do you want to just delete the last 12 minutes?
Delete the last 12 minutes? I tried to imitate a drum with a pen and a table and my laptop. Okay, we start over. We can do this. Hi, Richie.
Hi, Sin.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry, I had a brain blank.
Yeah, you said hi everyone and waited for them to answer, but it's a recording.
Okay. Hi, Richie.
Hi, Sin.
Hi, everyone. What are we doing here today, Richie?
We're recording episode something of Runes of Bloodborne. An exciting number of runes episode series, in which we go over the many runes of Bloodborne and discuss what they mean?
Yeah. We have an outline. So, Richie, what is the name of the rune that we're discussing today?
We are doing Metamorphosis in both its clockwise and counterclockwise forms.
So, we're doing 2 runes in one?
Yes,
Is it my birthday?
we have been partying, so...
Do. Do you know that song?
Is it a song? I thought you were just making noises.
It's from the olden days.
When's the olden days? To me, the olden days is like the late 19th century.
No, like 2005 maybe or so.
I'm not sure I can remember back that far.
Yeah, and if you recognize this tune, leave the comment below. Okay. So, we should probably start with Clockwise Metamorphosis, right? Because it's going in the clock direction, and the other one is going the opposite. So we'll start with the one that's like habitual. Okay. Richie, can you describe the drawing on the rune and tell us what it represents?
The drawing on the rune is a kind of like cross, but the ends of the cross are curling around kind of like a spiral, and it's twisting in a clockwise direction.
Clockwise direction. Wait a minute! You when you have a visual but you don't know how to express it? It's like clockwise direction is one direction and one direction is a band. And I have like a song playing in my head and then the rune's like turning to the song. And it's in the background and the band is playing.
Sounds like you're having some sort of weird like acid trip. Are you sure Japanese slippers don't have peyote in them or something? You're like, yeah, I see the rune, but I also hear it. And it's moving in front of me. And then you'll be like, yeah, now the rune is talking to me and the cross is becoming the face of death.
Fudge.
Runes of Bloodborne!
So the rune is a cross that's sort of curved.
Yes.
It's like as if you're looking at a jellyfish from above.
It looks like a figure eight that's been cut in half and then one of the halves has been rotated 90 degrees.
No. Because,
No?
that's a weird 8, bro. No. It's like maybe somebody copy-pasted half an 8 wrong.
Yeah.
You know? Or somebody drew two infinities, one on top of each other. You know, like in high school? Okay, you know what this is? I know what this is. Richie, I know what this is. This is Great Ones trying to be edgy.
What, doing the little, that S thing?
Yes, how did you know?
Yeah.
How did you know I was going to say that? Yeah. Isn't that S amazing? It was like in every continent and every country before the internet appeared.
I think that it's a carol rune. It's like the language of the Great Ones, and we were able to tune into it. Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we should have an episode on the S as a carol rune and have special guests. Maybe we'll get Aegon and Redgrave to explain it. Do you think they just like block us if we're like, we have to invite you for a very important podcast, and then they arrive and like explain the S? I mean, I'll tell them it was your idea.
I think Aegon would probably do it very politely and then say he had to leave. And Redgrave would tell me to go fuck myself.
You know what? I don't believe that. Redgrave was on our podcast, and he was so nice and polite. When he heard that Ludwig killed Maria, he politely, took a second, paused, and then said that he's willing to consider it. Like, it's way more polite than what you tell me when I bring it up. You're like, oh, why? Explain to me why.
Yeah,
you know?
I think the difference in that situation, though, is that was the first time he'd heard that. It wasn't a running joke throughout the past roughly 18 months to 2 years of his life. And he wasn't constantly asked to justify it and explain it. Record fake dialogue about it. Dedicate multiple podcast episodes to it. Pester Lance to find cut content that proves it happened.
Well, I linked the dialogue to him, and he said, like, I have no reason to doubt it.
Yeah. No, you're forgetting the best part.
Oh no, what's the best part?
How did you know? And you very confidently and smugly replied, he looked sketchy.
Okay. Thank you, Richie. That's all right, Sin.
Okay, we're 20 minutes in. And
did you see? I did you.
Failed to describe a cross.
Because usually when I say thank you, Rich, you go, that's all right, Sin. But on the podcast live, I explained why there are times where I just randomly say thank you, Richie. It's because I can cut those thank you, Richies anywhere in a podcast as we're talking. And sometimes it's easier to edit because at times we just abruptly end a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do you move on to the next topic? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we described it? I don't know. Did we describe it?
It's a twisty cross. It says on the description, it's a twisted cross.
We don't talk about what it says on the description yet. Okay, it's a twisty cross. It could also be a infinity symbol, could be an 8, could be a jellyfish, could be that S thing that the great ones are trying to reinvent. But, like, why reinvent the wheel? I get that you're a great one, but still, like, calm down, sir, you know? There's light in the middle. What if it's just a nightlight?
They all have that light in the middle.
What if they're all nightlights? Oh my god! Pritchie, they're just different nightlight designs! All of them.
Yep.
Think about it, it's like a great one opened a very, like, specific store of nightlights, and you need, like, different funky designs, you know? Because some of them are blue too, right? They're not all this color,
Yes.
the light.
Some of them are a sort of teal, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, wow. Well, I wish them luck. You know, it's not easy starting your own business and doing your own thing, but I hope it works out for them. Maybe we can give them a shout out on our YouTube channel at one point. Thank you, Richie. Okay. Now I'll ask, what voice would you like Richie to read a rune in?
Bold of you to assume this will actually be released.
Patreon.com/SinclairLore. You really don't recognize this?
This is what it sounds like to me.
Exactly, yeah!
It's 2 notes!
Yes! Oh my god! Okay, Humble Gamer says Provost William. Done. Okay, Richie,
Yes.
could you please read the rune text in your best Provost William voice? Richie. Okay, Richie, okay, we got it. We got it, Richie. We
I was reading the whole thing.
Okay, but could you please read it in the voice when he was, like, in his prime, when he was, like, a respected professor, when Lawrence was around, where everybody was like, woo, Willem, you're the smartest!
Can I just read it normally?
To understand the runes, we have to understand the people who utilize them, you know?
He didn't he banned this. He didn't utilize it.
We gotta be in his mindset of him banning this, you know? Just reach down into your soul and like, what does your soul tell you Willem sounded like in his prime?
Well, in the Lance video, he's like, eyes, bring me eyes.
I'll stop you right there.
Yeah.
Would somebody in their prime be like, bring me eyes? That seems like he's been, you know, a little off lately.
Okay, but his prime, when was his prime? Because his prime as a researcher, he was probably like 60 at the youngest.
Exactly. He was in his 60s in his prime, and he was like the head of the university. People came to him for advice. Maybe he went down to teach a class or two, and it was a great honor. It's like, you know.
So hang on, in the cutscene, he's like, you think now to betray me. He has like that.
Okay, that's beautiful. You see, I forgot about the cutscene because you're the genius lore hunter that you are.
Are you actually thanking me, or are you being sarcastic, or are you somehow doing both?
What? I completely forgot about
You've mastered sarcastically thanking someone for something you're actually thankful for.
No, I literally forgot about... This is like the most important cutscene of the game.
It's the only cutscene in the game!
And I forgot about it, and you remembered. So no, that's why literally all my admiration to you, sir. my head goes off to you.
Your head goes off to me. It's supposed to be my head goes off to you.
After you?
My hat
it
goes
runs
off
after
to you.
you?
No, you're like, I take
that's...
my hat off to you. You said you're taking my head off.
Wait, I don't know what's happening. I'm scared. So, Richie, read it in that voice. That is perfect. And I was literally thanking you because you're really good at this. And I've been drinking.
A secret symbol left by Carol, runesmith of Bergenworth. The twisted cross means metamorphosis. Rotated clockwise, this rune boosts HP. The discovery of blood made their dream of evolution a reality. Metamorphosis and the excesses of deviation that followed were only the beginning.
Bravo. That was a beautiful performance.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sending all my hats after you. They're getting into their little head cars and they're coming to say hi.
Just looking at the time. We've been going for half an hour.
Oh, that's not bad. And we're like halfway done with the outline, actually.
You understand there's 2 of these and there's 3 of each one.
Okay. Richie, what does the rune do? What function or effect does it have?
It boosts your hit points.
What do you mean by boosts your hit points?
Well, one gives you 5% more.
Because as you're talking... Oh, I see. Because in my head, boost your hit points. I imagine the hit point bar, and something's giving it a little boost, like a rocket, so it flies out of the screen. And I just didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Richie. And, what is the location of the rune? Where is it? How do we find it? And who has it?
Well, the first one, which gives you a 5% boost, so it's the weakest one, is found on a corpse in Forbidden Woods. And it's right outside Bergenworth, and it's a corpse that's looking up at one of the big gravestones. And you find a lot of corpses in Forbidden Woods that are like that. They will have a rune, or they will have Madman's Knowledge, or they will have Frenzied Cold Blood, and they're looking up at one of those big tombstones. So presumably it's someone who was, like, in Forbidden Woods and they saw the tombstone and it, like, sent them insane. And that's where that rune came from.
I just had a visual. As you were talking, I imagined someone looking at the tomb, and the tomb is looking back at them, and then in the background it's singing, "Sometimes when we touch," and the tomb and the person are falling in love.
I suspect there's going to be a lot on the cutting room floor this episode.
But the tomb is like, it's not like a tomb. It looks like a tomb with like cute chibi anime eyes, you know, and like... Okay,
and the second one we find is in the Nightmare Frontier, and it's also on a corpse, and presumably that's the same thing. Someone went into the Nightmare Frontier and they went crazy, and the rune materialized in their head. And the third one is in the Chalice Dungeons.
Chalice Dungeon. Okay, go on.
Well, it's just in a treasure thing like everything else. It's not, like, story-based.
Why is it there?
Because they put treasure in the Chalice Dungeons.
Chalice Dungeon. Bring me a dream. Da, 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 da. Make him the cutest great one I've ever seen. Da, 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 da. Thank you, Richie.
I will, like, say in your defense that at least when you're drunk, you're just sort of, like, silly. You're not like, "What's a fucking thing? Let me tell you something. I got a lot of problems with you. Shut up. You're actually, now that I think about it, you're actually nicer when you're drunk. The constant shouting and, like, insults are a sober thing.
Thank you, Richie. So one of the places where we find the rune is on a person?
They're both on corpses. Yeah.
They're both. So how did those people get the rune?
Because they're connected to, like, Great One stuff. So they must have, like... Because one is by a Great One's tombstone and one is in the Nightmare. So they must have, like, gone mad and died. And the rune is, like, in their mind from when they went mad.
Oh, you think? Because I was thinking they had it beforehand somehow.
Well, they might have.
I guess the game doesn't really tell us when exactly they acquired it. So it could have been at any point. Could the rune materialize after you die somehow?
But it might have been what killed them, because you find other people who, like, they die from frenzy, and they leave frenzied blood behind. And, like, frenzy is you going insane from too much, like, eldritch knowledge.
Do you know what visual I have in my head now?
Is it just a completely unrelated thing, like Lambo dancing, or a cow you saw once?
Do you remember the original Total Recall?
Not very well.
With Arnold?
Yeah, I saw it, but I haven't seen it for like 20 years, so I couldn't.
Okay. One scene that stayed with me forever, there's a couple actually, but one of them is when he's like taking a thing, I guess a tracker, out of his nose or something. Remember that?
Vaguely.
So I feel like, as you said, like maybe the rune like is the thing that drove them mad. That's what I got a feeling of, like Arnold is trying to like a rune is there and he's trying to get it out, but then he doesn't do it properly and his head explodes, you know? And that's why they died.
Right. So the rune was in their nose.
Well, I mean, the game doesn't tell us it wasn't.
That's true.
And Kojima is a fan of movies. Oh, no, wait.
Yeah, it's a different guy.
Sorry, I've been thinking of Death Stranding lately, and it's been a little confusing.
You have to understand, I'm trying to remember two things.
No, because it's like, you know, like Soulsborne and like Death Stranding are constantly on my mind, and sometimes they intertwine. Yeah. And this drink, like, it's like very alcoholic.
Yes, it is.
And like, even though I had like not a full glass, it's like you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am the podcast's designated driver, so.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Richie. So let's look at the text more closely.
Certainly.
A secret symbol left by Carl rules. We've looked at it in the first episode, I think, so we're not gonna...
they all say that.
The twisted cross means metamorphosis. Oh my
sure
god,
does.
It's a twisted cross.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. We're allowed to say that now.
Yes, we're allowed to say that now. But what does the word metamorphosis mean?
Transformation.
Rotated clockwise. It is rotated clockwise.
Yes, it's a cross that's rotated.
If you hold it by the middle. No, only if you hold it by the middle, because if you try to rotate it by its ends, it would look different. So it's like a doorknob that you turn.
Yes. In a sense, is not meditation the doorknob to enlightenment. You just have to know to turn it.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Richie. This rune boosts HP, which we talked about.
Yep.
The discovery of blood made their dream of evolution a reality.
Yes.
Explain.
Byrgenwerth, they want to...
Dignity City!
They want to evolve humanity into something else. To, like, transcend human limitations. And then they find the blood, and the blood causes metamorphosis.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, okay, this is how we're going to do it. But then it starts creating uncontrollable... Well, that's the next sentence, and you're probably going to yell at me if I talk about it. Do you want to talk about the next sentence? But you know what,
Richie? No, but you know how there's a misconception of insight versus blood type deal? Byrgenwerth uses one thing, whereas Healing Church uses blood. This shows that no, Byrgenwerth, blood, evolution, reality.
Yeah.
Like, this rune tells us that Byrgenwerth were like, woo, blood!
Yes.
Wow! I finally understand Bloodborne. And then it says Metamorphosis, and the excess and deviation that followed were only the beginning. So then the next line basically tells us that, I guess they used blood, and then it caused stuff they didn't like.
Yes.
But then again, it plays into what you say when you're like, then Willem is like, wait, guys, stop.
Yeah.
We got meditate by the lake now.
Yeah, that's what happened.
We're gonna use it another time. Yeah, so that's cool. Like, yeah. I feel so intelligent right now. I am an intelligent Sir Edgar, basically.
Trapped on your own and surrounded by spiders.
Well, I am in the woods, probably surrounded by bears. Yeah. No, that's really cool. Like, I'm actually really happy that, like, we've, like, talked about lore and, like, other people talked about it and, like, all that, like, it's like, you know when you study for a test? And then when you read something related to the test, like, it's easy because you studied.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel like right now. I feel this fulfillment where it's like, I get it. Yeah. 4 years later, I get it. Happy. Yeah, and I've come a long way because I was rewatching some of the old lore. Well, not really rewatching, but like I've been posting some of the older stuff you did and I did, and like some solo lore.
Yeah.
And like I guess it's like better done or whatever, but some things were like completely wrong, and now I understand them, and back then I didn't. And it's just like, progress and pride.
Aw.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Richie. Oh, what does it say in Japanese?
I don't have it with me, but I know it says basically the same thing.
It says basically the same thing, but Richie has to find it and read it anyway.
Basically the same thing! That's the other band that you throw to.
That's amazing. Because in the past you did say that it's the same thing, and then we found out some information, remember?
I think that happened once, and I've never been allowed to forget it.
More than once.
Alright. Let's just scroll the way down this gigantic document until we find Carol runes. Click on it and you have to wait a while for it to load.
Have to wait a while.
Now, got it. And we pick it up and we go to Google Translate. We have to wait for that to open.
Google Translate. West Virginia. You know, I have that song in my mind on like repeat 24/7.
Yes.
That and like, I don't wanna set the world on fire.
It says basically the same thing.
Could you read it?
Byrgenwerth student. One of the secrets left by writer Carol. The undulating cross is given the meaning of transformation. Clockwise, it has the effect of increasing HP. The discovery of blood brought them an evolutionary dream. Pathological or perverted metamorphosis is the beginning.
So I like how it says clockwise increases HP. Does it mean counterclockwise is going to decrease it? I don't know. We'll find out.
It says that in English as well, though.
It doesn't say it like that, though. It doesn't say, like...
It says rotated clockwise, this rune boosts HP.
Yeah, it doesn't give me the same feeling. I don't see the connection, but, like, when you read it from Google Translate, I visualize somebody, like, twisting it, like, somebody, like, turning it like a doorknob, and then that increases the HP. You know what I mean? There's, like, a causation there that I saw.
So, what part of rotated clockwise, this rune boosts HP confused you initially?
It's just like, it's like two separate things. This rune is rotated clockwise, by the way, your HP is increased. Like, I don't see the, like, in my head, I didn't see, like, me turning the cross to make it into a metamorphosis rune.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean now. Yeah,
it's like a knob. Okay, a good analogy is like if you turn a knob to increase volume. You know what I mean? And when you read the Japanese description, that's what I pictured.
Yeah, because it does say rotated clockwise, this rune boosts HP. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a causal relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like a Reddit argument, but you're not trying to be irritating. They would just be like, well, actually, it's not causal, it could just be two unconnected statements. That it's rotated clockwise and boosts HP. The Master Miyazaki would do this in the English script he wrote.
You know what this reminds me of?
It's 1:15.
You know, like psych classes or like intro to psychology or whatever, that's one of the first things you learn where it's like, correlation does not mean causation.
Yeah.
And then everybody who like heard that phrase in their life is acting like a fucking genius, but it's like, no, it's common sense. Shut the fuck up, go home.
This is going to be a class at Dignity City. It's just called Common Sense. You just go through all these, you're like, well, that's obvious, shut the fuck up.
Maybe. Okay, thank you, Richie. What great one is associated with this rune? What great one spoke it?
We don't know.
Let's figure it out.
No.
Oh my god, we're a serious research podcast. Okay. Forbidden Woods, Nightmare Frontier, Thumaru.
Yeah.
What do they have in common?
They're all locations in the game Bloodborne.
Okay, so it's a Bloodborne rune for sure.
Yep.
So that's something.
Yep, it's no Dear Drakengard shit going on here. This is definitely from Bloodborne.
Okay. And, Forbidden Woods lead to Bergenworth. Nightmare Frontier leads to...
Nowhere. It's a dead end.
Thumaru, I Hail leads to...
Nowhere, it's also a dead end. It's the last of the Thumaru.
Well, I feel like Nightmare Frontier led somewhere else, because at the end of the boss fight you have a little...
Yeah, it used to lead to Nightmare of Mensis. Doesn't anymore, though.
Well, it would make sense, Nightmare Frontier, so let's just assume Nightmare Frontier leads to... So there's Bergenworth on one side, Nightmare of Mensis on the other side, and there's Thumaru. So Thumaru we can ignore because Thumerians probably discovered a lot of runes because they were like into that shit. So what do Bergenworth and Nightmare of Mensis have in common?
Mikolash?
Why am I doing this? What am I trying to find? I forget.
I don't know. I am just sitting here in complete confusion.
Me too. Oh, what great one spoke it? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
we don't know.
Rom.
Okay,
it's Rom.
I want to say, okay, it's Rom, so that this ends. But also...
No, but think about it. Yeah.
Okay, think about this, though. Metamorphosis is like representative of the beginnings of them like experimenting with blood, right? And Rom is like really late. Rom is like after Orphan of Cause, after the Healing Church is founded, probably.
Give me a second.
So,
Jesus, I'm dying. I'll be back. Oh, God. Excuse me, my Japanese slipper tried to kill me.
do you feel like there's kind of a parallel between you and Japanese slippers and Bergenworth and Blood? Where it's clear here that you have discovered the Japanese slipper, and you think it's making your dreams a reality, but it's causing podcasts to drag out for 4 to 5 times their optimal length. It's causing you to forget things mid-sentence sometimes. Lots of coughing, having to get up. You'll probably have largely forgotten everything we said by tomorrow morning. Yeah, so I feel like Master Willem in this situation would say to you that you need to fear the Japanese slipper, and you need to go and you need to, like, become at one with yourself till you learn how to control the effects of the Japanese slipper.
And then I go, hey, Master Willem, we can cure ligma.
Yeah.
And this is how this podcast ends forever.
I feel like we've reached a point where there's just no way it can possibly end. It's unkillable.
Wait, I'm gonna read your comment. Did I share the comment from the ligma thing?
Mm-hmm.
If I find it quickly, I'll read it too. No, but anyway, I'll tell you later. But I'm paraphrasing here, somebody was like, I thought this was a real thing at first.
Yeah.
But it was cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how I reconstructed a missing cutscene. Like, with the audio and everything. And that's gotten less of a response than Ligma.
Where did you reconstruct the missing audio?
It was in the removed content stream.
Thank you, Richie. Now, so what great one? If not Rom, it would have to be the Living Failures, maybe?
I don't think it's a specific great one.
But a specific great one had to speak it for them to hear it. In Bergenworth.
It's a concept.
I feel like... No, it's like they tried blood on someone. Someone turned into something, and that's how the rune appeared, you know? So it would have to be like something like the Living Failures. Or maybe Adeline, or like, you know?
It can't be them because, like, it would have to be early on in Bergenworth's history.
But wasn't that early?
But it mentions them, like, discovering blood for the first time.
Brutus?
Maybe.
I almost said a Brutus.
Yeah. Thank you for your restraint.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anyway, we'll keep thinking about it. But thank you, Richie. That's it.
No, there's an anti-clockwise rune.
Yeah, but that's what I was about to ask you was, do you want to end this and make another podcast about anti-clockwise, or do you want this to be one thing?
I think it should be one thing because there's about 5 minutes of actual content so far.
Oh my god, what a bully. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to...
Why am I the bully when you're the one who is, like...
Did I say there's 5 minutes of actual content? I think there's an hour of actual content.
God, there is.
So now, let's move on to Anticlockwise Metamorphosis.
Runes of Bloodborne!
Okay, Richie. So let's start with the name of the rune.
Well, it's the same as the last one, but it's going in a different direction.
What? Describe the drawing on the rune and tell us what it represents.
It's the same as the last one, but the cross is going in a different direction.
I asked Discord which voice they'd like you to read the rune in.
It's the same description.
Doesn't matter, it's different rune. And they said, Macho Man Randy Savage voice? Do you know what that is?
He's a wrestler.
Can you do that?
No, I don't know what he sounds like.
Okay, let's Google now.
Why don't you read the rune in one of your voices?
Because, I do my voices every day, and you're...
I think that's only fair.
But your voices are a special occasion. People, crave it. Like crack.
What voices do you do every day? There's your normal voice, and then,
you know?
Yeah, and there's that one, which is your all-purpose.
Oh my god, this is amazing! Oh no, you have to do it. Now I agree. Oh my god.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay, hang on.
I feel like you can do his voice better than he does. His voice.
He doesn't look well. I think he's been taking beast blood by the looks of him.
He's like that sketchy beggar. Just scrolling through the video, it's fascinating. I think Elizabeth is his girlfriend. Oh, she's the manager of the Macho Man.
You know, my YouTube search results are going to just be wrestling the next day as a result of this.
Whenever you feel confident, Richie, I'm ready.
A secret symbol left by Carol, runesmith of Bergenworth. The twisted cross means metamorphosis. Rotated anti-clockwise, this rune boosts stamina. The discovery of blood made their dream of evolution a reality. Metamorphosis and the excessive deviation that followed was only the beginning.
Thank you, Richie. We really appreciate all the hard work you put into the podcast. That was awesome. Okay. So now, what does the rune do? What its function and effect?
It increases your stamina.
So you see, when you turn it the other way, the second bar increases, right?
Yes, that's what it says. I just said that in character as Macho Man Randy Savage.
Amazing. Oh my god! Do you know what this is? It's like audio mixing equipment. When you turn it to right, it's like one volume thing. When you turn it left, it's the other volume thing that increases.
Good.
Whatever great one spoke this, they're a DJ.
Do you think that's why it's twisted? It's like a record on a turntable.
Yeah. Boom. You solved it.
Yeah, the lesser known great one, Mixmaster Mike.
The lesser known great one, Mixmaster Mike. That's amazing. Is he part of our Snack Covenant family now?
I have no idea what Mixmaster Mike is doing these days. I don't know what the Beastie Boys are really doing these days, since they're probably in their 50s at this point.
We should invite him to the podcast.
Just living off the royalties of Sabotage. They became Buddhists.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Maybe they're meditating like Willem.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! We missed out on the most obvious thing.
What?
The Beastie Boys.
Oh my god! We will never forgive ourselves! We need this information out in the public. Tweet it out right now, Richie.
I can't. I have a browser extension that stops me using Twitter during work hours. And when they performed Intergalactic, that was like them ascending to another plane. Yeah, the Beastie Boys actually predicted the whole plot of Bloodborne.
Oh my god, the Beastie Boys are part of the Snap Covenant family! I will tweet at them as soon as we're done with this podcast. They will be coming to the Snap Covenant. Okay, thank you, Richie.
This is going to be great because, like, you're going to wake up tomorrow having no recollection of what you did and discover that you tweeted at the Beastie Boys, asking them to come on a podcast no one listens to discuss a game that they probably haven't even heard of.
Thank you, Richie. Now, what does the rune do? What is its function and effect?
Well, I believe this is the third time I've said this, but it raises your stamina. And the clue is in the description when it says it boosts stamina, and also the short description which is boosts max stamina.
What if it's a diversion? What if that's not what it actually does?
No, I'm pretty sure it does.
Are you sure it's not a piece of misdirection?
What is it misdirecting you?
It's like, it tells you, oh, it boosts stamina, but actually it like...
Some of the items do have, like, a slightly incorrect description, but this one doesn't. Yeah, like the lead elixir says it doesn't improve defense, but it does.
Why? Why would the lead elixir do that to us?
Joker's trick.
Thank you, Richie. What is the location of the rune? Where is it? How do we find it? Who has it?
Like, and now you're like, okay, let's get this moving, come on. No more dawdling. We have to get to our next tangent. So this is where it starts to, like, make, like, a comparison with the Clockwise rune. Because you find one of them by a bunch of Celestials. And then you get the other one from Patches. And those are both, like, kin transformations. They're not beast transformations. So it's kind of... It's odd because, like, I don't know what connection that has to stamina. But it's kind of like saying, hey, the Clockwise Metamorphosis one is associated with beasts, and the Anticlockwise one is associated with the kin of the cosmos.
Interesting.
It would kind of make more sense, like, if instead of HP and stamina, one gave you more blood vials and one gave you more quicksilver. But those end up being communion and Erden.
So the clockwise is beast one and anti-clockwise is the non-beast one. So anti-clockwise is what Willem wants.
Well, anti-clockwise is associated with kin. I don't know if, like... You don't find it on beasts, but you find it on, like, human corpses. That aren't, like, as in non-like kin of the cosmos corpses.
Okay, so who has the rune?
A dead person near a bunch of Celestials, who presumably, like, was turning into a Celestial. Because you find, like, other bodies there that have arcane stuff on them. And, the other one is from Patches.
So, Patches... Whatever he did turned him into the spider, and...
Yeah.
The rune...
He got anti-clockwise metamorphosis from the rune.
So... But it didn't make him ascend.
Not really.
It just transformed him strangely. Because he's not a beast.
Well, he's trying his best.
Okay.
Like he's not ascended, but he's on the way.
Oh. Doesn't he look like a child of Rom? No, he doesn't.
No, he looks like the other spiders.
Yeah. There's a big spider in the room. And the
Yeah.
spider has little baby spiders. And
Yeah.
Patches is one of the baby spiders, basically, right?
Well, no, the ones in that room don't have human heads.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ones above that room, like there are ones with human heads in the nightmare. Yeah.
So do you think the human pads will eventually grow out, or?
Into what?
No, out of the spiders that don't have heads, do you think the heads will eventually grow out where they're supposed to be?
Who can say? Who can say?
Do you think the heads are interchangeable like Mr. Potato?
They kind of are.
How so?
Because those spiders, right? There's just one enemy that's a spider with a human head and like a bowl cut.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then to make Patches, they remove the hair. And then to make the non-headed spiders, they just remove the head. Kind of like in Dark Souls 1, when there's like those things in Lost Izalith that are just the back halves of dragons.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you, Richie. If we look at the text more closely, it tells us that Master Willem didn't like this rune either.
It tells us the same thing. It's the same description, they just change one line.
Yeah, but I feel like... So the Clockwise Metamorphosis was no good. Anticlockwise is no good either?
I don't understand what you mean.
I felt like if Clockwise Metamorphosis was not enough,
Yeah.
Anticlockwise Metamorphosis should have been the good rune that Willem was looking for.
No, it's all Metamorphosis was not good. They just turn you into different things.
Okay.
The one Willem was looking for was I. Which is why you get it from him.
Oh, I was about to ask you, was the one he was looking for a cross? Just like a regular cross?
If only you had been there, you could have gone, bro. Just draw a cross. You just walk up to Carol's book and just draw an X, and then you just stand back and look really smug, and they're like, whoa.
Excellent, thank you, Richie. So, what great one is associated with the rune? What great one spoke it?
Patches has one, so it might be Amygdala.
That's what I was just thinking.
But I don't think it's associated with this specific great one. I think it's just like...
But if you look, how many arms do Amygdala have?
7. You also find one in Ailing Lauren, which is Amygdala's chalice.
So this is definitely Amygdala.
Why not?
Yeah, well, like if you look at Amygdala from above, maybe it's like 4 arms that are twisty, or...
There was a lot of discourse about how many arms and fingers represent what. I don't want to go back there.
Okay. Alright. But I think Amygdala would be the best answer for this one, all things considered.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, maybe not spoke it, but associated with it in some way.
Well, it doesn't speak at all.
Amygdala speaks. It sings beautifully. Did you forget the cut content that Lance found? Where the Amygdala sings to that priest or whatever? Or it's a song that I interpret as the Amygdala singing?
That's people singing to Amygdala.
Yeah, but then the Amygdala answers back. Is my interpretation.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if the Master Miyazaki intentionally left that in there for us to find 4 years later.
Do the outro, Richie.
That was Runes of Bloodborne.
Runes of Bloodborne.
An exciting podcast in which
Exciting
we attempt
podcast in which
to discuss the Runes of Bloodborne.
attempt to discuss the Runes of Bloodborne.
But it doesn't always go as planned.
Doesn't always go as planned. Hee hee.